So iOS 17 is officially out now, and I've been testing it on my iPhone 13 Pro ever since the public beta world. And I have to say this has to be one of the most buggiest update ever in the history of iOS. iOS 17 is way more buggier than what iOS 16 was. So alongside the iOS 17 features, I'll walk through my entire experience of using it on my 13 Pro, and that includes the performance, the battery life, which features work and which do not work. So we have two iPhone 13 Pros here. One is in the Sierra blue color, which is the best color they have ever made yet, and the other is the green color, which is also kind of nice. Now if you are wondering why two iPhones, that's because most of the headlining features works only between two iPhones. That's business strategy, you know. Let's start with my favorite feature, which I use every single day. So whenever you place your phone horizontally while charging, wired or wireless, then a new UI pops up and it's like a smart home display, and it's called a standby mode. Here I have compared it with my Lenovo smart clock with Google Assistant, and they both look kind of very similar. If you're into Apple's home ecosystem, then you can also display your smart home shortcuts right on the display. But for the rest of us, I particularly use this clock and my battery widget side by side because I usually charge my phone at night, and this thing is super helpful. You can swipe between different clock styles, and you can also swipe between different Apple widgets if you want to, and they all work very well. All the widgets that are on your home screen, you can set it right here as well if they are optimized for standby mode, and you also get your smart rotate and widget suggestions as well. You can swipe from right to left if you want to keep any picture from your gallery as the standby image. Swipe once more to get access to different digital clocks, and again you can customize them. Pick which color you want and also pick the style that you like the most. Also in the dark, it just cuts down all the blue light and turns it into a red mode. Good for the eyes. If you want a digital clock and your batteries together, you will need to download a third-party app called Digital Clock and set it as a widget. This looks beautiful and way more functional to me. Also, the new music UI on the standby mode looks beautiful with this full screen cover page and all the controls, and you can just swipe it away to bring back your original standby setup. The call UI is also so amazing and functional. You get this big contact photo and big buttons, and you can also switch to FaceTime if you like. It's a great UI, I love it. Although in the battery widget, if you only have your iPhone, that's okay, it will display the battery percentage. But if you have more than one Apple devices, it again switches to the widget and does not show the battery percentage, which is disappointing given there's enough space to put the battery percentage for all the four things. Maybe they will bring this in the future update or jailbreak tweaks, who knows. Plus, there's no way to get out of this mode once you are into it. I mean, if I want to access my lock screen, I either have to turn off the charging or rotate my phone vertically because there's no tap or long press gesture to get me out of here. That's kind of annoying, to be honest. You can use Siri in this mode to do anything or open any app, and if there's a notification, it appears like this, but you can actually change the settings of notifications for more privacy. One more important thing to know is, unless you have the iPhone 14 Pro or the iPhone 15 Pro, this standby mode is only available for 20 seconds and then it disappears because none of these older phones have always on display. Can they enable always on display just for this mode? Sure, they can, but will they? I don't think so. Our latest Pro iPhones are incredible and they are packed with new features, so you should definitely buy them. But I definitely wish it stayed on all the time since it's charging and we do not lose any battery during charging. Anyways, another big feature that I like are the contact posters in the phone app. But this barely works for me, guys. Even when my friends and family members update their posters, it takes too long to show on my phone, and in some cases, it just won't show you the picture that they have kept, so it is actually really buggy. But when it works, it's really nice. All the people who cares about updating their own contact info will actually result in a better looking and friendly calling UI for their contacts with an iPhone. If your people are too lazy to do all this, you can just go in their contact info and choose a poster of your choice. So whenever they call you, you get their full screen image, which is always nice to see. And this works for all contacts, including those who use Android phones too. Now this is not exactly new for Apple, guys. Back in iOS 7, yes, exactly 10 years ago, their calling UI was very similar, minus the fonts and filters customization. Unfortunately, I don't have a device that runs iOS 7 right now, or else I would have shown you, but I do have a screenshot, and as you can see in the screenshot, it does have the full screen calling UI. So not everyone's gonna use this feature, but yeah, it's a nice feature to have. Now to share your just beautifully crafted contact to new people, Apple has come up with another headlining feature and it's called Name Drop. Yeah, a fancy new name for the newly updated AirDrop. So now you can just bring two iPhones close to one another like this and a beautiful animation comes up and you get an option to share your contact details. You are in complete control whether to share or just receive the details. It's totally up to you. So as of now, if you wanted to share each other's contact numbers, then you would note down their number in the phone app and give them a call or WhatsApp them, but not anymore. Name Drop makes this process very easy and seamless for you. You can now actually even share other things like photos or videos exactly with this method. Bring your iPhones close to each other and the file gets transferred. Easy. And the good news is AirDrop even works via cellular now. So even if there is an error in Bluetooth connection between the two devices, it will revert back to cellular and complete that transfer. That is cool. Another feature that's making headlines are the interactive widgets. The whole world's happy about having interactive widgets on iOS. But are they really interactive? I used a couple of them and most noticeably the music widget and the reminders widget. In both of them, I think the interaction is fairly limited. It's good that you can check out the list of things that you already did, but what about adding a new thing? For that, it's the same thing that you will need to open the app and enter the task. While if you check on Android, this is the OnePlus Notes app. And if I want to add a new task here, there's the plus button, you hit it, you create your checklist and you come out of it without leaving the widget or opening the app. That is interactive. With music, it's the same thing. All you can do is play or resume the last song that you already listened, which is potentially useless. You are getting widget options for your recently played songs, top picks, but not your playlist, which by the way is available on Apple Music for Android. So this is the Android app and I can set my playlist on the widget here, and you also get this next and previous buttons to switch between songs as well, which is a basic functionality for any interactive widget. Both of them are not available on iOS. So I don't know why they are even calling this interactive. So interactive or no interactive doesn't really make a big difference on iOS. Android is still way better at this. Another huge redesign is the Messages app. The entire UI is being redesigned and we have seen this UI in some other popular messaging app, right? From this plus button containing all the options, to swiping on a message to reply, to unsending a sent message, WhatsApp's UI is finally on iMessage. But the iMessage also has a cool new feature baked into it and it is called check-in. So basically if you are going somewhere and you need to inform your friends or family after you reach there, then you can just send a check-in to your contact with your desired location and it will count your ETA on that route, and when you reach there, it's gonna notify your contact that you have reached safely. If you don't reach on time, it will let them know that you are getting delayed. But if you never reach there, it's gonna inform your contact with your last location, and it can also show your battery percentage of your iPhone if you configure that in the settings. So this is a good safety feature, but again only works if your contact also has an iPhone. Also, fun fact, if you want to check if your friend has updated to iOS 17 or not, just try sending check-in, and if it goes through, they are on iOS 17. But if it doesn't, then you will get this message saying check-in is not available for this recipient, meaning that they haven't updated yet. Yeah, thank me later. There are other small features like Siri can be triggered by just saying Siri instead of Hey Siri, and it is now having continued conversation. So during a conversation, you don't need to say Siri again and again. It is always listening to you. Siri, what's the weather now?
It's currently cloudy and 29 degrees. Expect partly cloudy skies starting in the evening.
How about tomorrow?
Expect rain tomorrow.
Tell me a joke.
Why do they serve snail at fancy restaurants? Because their customers don't like fast food.
Ha ha ha, thank you. Safari also has profiles now, which Google Chrome users are already used to, so nothing super new there. And some new live wallpapers are also here. I really like this kaleidoscope wallpapers. This reminds me of my childhood when I actually had a physical kaleidoscope, and just like that, you get different patterns in the same wallpaper after every few unlocks. So it is really nice. If I talk about the performance specifically on the 13 Pro, the performance is great on this 120Hz frame rate, and the high frame rate is maintained throughout the UI, but there are some glitches as well where the phone would feel laggy and stuttering. But I think it will get ironed out with future software updates. Battery life is where I am noticing a decrease. If I compare it with iOS 16, the battery is probably 5 to 10% worse than before. It's not a big deal guys, as the 13 Pro is still a battery champ with more than just all day battery life on a typical working day. And yes, my phone's battery health is 87%, so it's not getting any younger either. So overall, I think if you want to update to iOS 17 on your 13 Pro, there shouldn't be any major issues for you guys. It's a good update and a very familiar experience like it has always been with iOS. If you already did an update to iOS 17 on your 13 Pro or even the iPhone 13, let me or let everyone know in the comment section below so you can help them decide whether to update right away or not. That's all for the video guys. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you very soon.